This is the Solana 1-year overview reading for the year of 2023. It's currently January 24th, 2023, 8:27 p.m. Eastern Time. Solana at the time of this reading is currently $22.40 USD. And for those of you that are interested, the shuffle file for Solana's 2023 reading was created on October 26, 2022 at 10:11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's this file right here. Turn it to the side. So the overall theme and behavior for Solana in the year of 2023 is a decline offering an opportunity to open up a long position. It's crossed with a sharp decline in the midst of bearish price swings. When we take a look at the 10-year, it helps to inform us further. We have a high in 2023, a rally that increases with momentum moving forward in time. And since what we've seen here is pretty much crisscross back and forth through the same price level, my sense is that it's not as bearish as it may first appear with these cards. We've got a notable decline in here, but with that said, it's an opportunity, right? So we'll get into that as we move forward. The behavior on the highest high, we have a move higher through resistance. That's on like a multi-year scale resistance. We break through it momentarily, we stay above it just briefly, and then we break back down through the same price level with a full retracement. That down to where that move higher started. It makes like a capital A in the English language, with the price level being like the horizontal line. Behavior around the lowest low, we have a decline from a crest down to and through a support level. We do a U-shaped reversal below the support level, come back and reuse it as support. Again, those are levels on the scale of a multi-year. And then another thing to point out is that the highs and the low for the year are within close proximity to each other on the timeline, so probably within like a month's time. That's interesting to point out. This is likely a high here. Is Solana's highest high of 2023 taking place in April of 2023? Yes. I asked that question because often the Ace of Swords is the highest high. It's an important price level. I think it's probably here. And then we have it again here. So there's bearish price swings, but there are price swings in there. And that also makes sense because we have a lowest low here. We have another highest high here, so there should be a lowest low within close. Lowest low. Could that be the case? Yeah. Wow. Very likely a lowest low on the cusp of August, September. I pulled the Prince of Wands card, which is what the other lowest low is. Interesting. All right, so probably another highest high there in September, and a lowest low like somewhere around the bottom of August. I should also make that translucent because it's not from specific to Eso-Meta, it's more intuitive. Alright. Okay, so in January we have a rally into a resistance level, or we create a resistance level, one of the two, but we rally into where there's a resistance, and from there we decline with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down, off of the. Looks like there's a decline, a notable decline in late January through multiple support levels, probably from the January high. Behavior out of the low, we bump up against resistance, breakthrough resistance, bump up against resistance, and it looks like that there's probably a low there towards the cusp of January, February. And a big move to the upside out of that trough. A big move reaching for distant resistance on a scale of like a 1 year chart, and a big move into the month's high for February. There's also a sharp decline into the low from an overbought crest or peak. There's a sharp decline into the low. And it looks like towards the end of the month of February, we're revisiting a support level in the midst of some sideways rotation and a sharp dip that stands out in that sideways rotation along key support. Yeah, that sharp dip has a correlation to the ace of discs, so there's some trade opportunity there in late February, which I get into in more detail in the paid version. Okay, so there's a lowest low in March, towards probably the third week of March. There's a lowest low, like a reversal in early March, and a decline from a peak or crest in early March. There's a decline that increases with momentum moving forward into the low, and then at the low towards the end of March, that's a lowest low. There's a notable rally that increases with momentum out of the low. We come up against the upper end of a range in early April. Very likely there's a highest high there. Yeah, come up against the upper end of a range, probably towards the hard to say, but somewhere in April there's the upper end of a range and very likely a highest high, from which there's a sharp drop that'll stand out on a year-to-date chart, taking us into a trough towards the end of the month of April. And out of that move, there's a big move from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of the range. We probably revisit that same crest in May, and it's a failed attempt to break through key resistance. It's usually resistance that's already been established when you see the defeat card. There's multiple failed attempts in early May to break through key resistance, and a brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a sharp decline on a year-to-date chart through multiple support levels. I'm advised to be cautious around the low in May, towards the end of the month. There's a notable opportunity there to open up a long position in early June. U-shaped dip creating the low and a prominent trough for the year there in June. It's also within close time proximity to a prominent peak or crest. And it looks like we have a peak or crest towards the end of the month of June, and a sharp sell-off from that peak or crest. U-shaped dip. So we do a decline in early June into a low, come back like unexpectedly, make a high for the month and a prominent peak or crest for the year, and then we have a sharp decline off of that. So there's a prominent low followed by a prominent high, and then a sharp sell-off into July, and then it looks like we do sideways fluctuations along a key support in July, followed by a big move higher, successfully turning resistance into support, and it's likely around the same price level that we saw at a peak or crest in February, is my sense. A notable decline in late July, and that takes us into more decline in more decline in early August. There's 3 pokes through the same price level, followed by a sharp drop off of that third poke around the month's high for August, which is likely towards the end of the month of August. Matter of fact, it's likely towards the beginning of the month of August. There's 3 pokes through the same price level. It's probably the same price level that was the high of July. Near the low of the order's a little skewy in August, but near the low of August, there's 3 crisscrosses through the same price level, confirming a bullish trend, and we very likely have a low towards the cusp there of August, September, with a big move higher out of the low of August into a near overbought crest or peak in probably the first or second week of September that we sell down from. And that peak or that near overbought peak or crest is probably a highest high again there. There's a speech there around the high, and I'm advised not to chase that high. There's a notable turnaround, a notable decline. So we go from like this lowest low So we go from like this big move out of August into a near overbought crest or peak and highest high towards the second week of September, and then we sell from that down to key support. Doesn't look like it's a lowest low again. It's more like a decline and then a fast sudden move higher out of that decline. There's a prominent peak or crest and a prominent low or trough again in the same month within close proximity to each other when we get into October. A pretty notable move. Pretty notable move in early October to the upside offers a opportunity to open up a short position with sideways fluctuations in a rally into the prominent peak or crest there in October, and then we decline from that pretty substantially to a key support level. There's a good trade opportunity there, and we rotate sideways along key support into the end of October, at which point that rotation ends with a fast sudden move higher in early November. It'll stand out on a 1-year chart from oversold territory or to fill a previous gap down, but it's a big move, maybe even a short squeeze of some kind. Takes us to a key technical price level that's important on more than just a 1-year chart. They're at around the month's high of November, and then we decline from that month's high of November down to and through a support level, meet a secondary support level, bounce around that for a bit, maybe meet the nearest resistance, then come back, bounce a bit, and break down through more support levels into an important technical price level around the low as well. Looks like matter of fact, it looks like that key technical price level that's important on more than just a 1-year chart. On a multi-year chart, it's important. It's probably there at the cusp of November, December. And from there, we decline pretty hard. And it's through a support level that we recently declined through once before. Probably that Ace of Discs decline. So there's a pretty good cash out opportunity. I'll talk about it in more detail in the paid version, but in around the high of December. There's a fake out in late December, and we have a merger or acquisition or decision of some kind that impacts, probably a decision of some kind that impacts Solana around its December low. We have more volatility in 2024 and a sharp drop that stands out in 2024. Yeah, and again, it looks like the high forms in 2023, and then there's a notable decline out of it. That's Solana for 2023, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Most importantly, make sure you follow that rule of karma. Super important if you plan to profit from this channel's information. The universe will not allow you to do so if you do not follow the rule of karma every single time that you make money from this information. You must send 5% of it forward. Somebody who needs it, doesn't expect it, or like a charity or something, send 5% of it back to the channel. Say thank you for the hard work and the free work that we do. And also, you're showing the universe that you don't need to hold on to 10% of your profits, because there's way more profits to come. That's an abundance mentality, my friend. That's how you manifest more abundance. Like attracts like. With that said, guys, stay tuned for the paid version, and I'll see you guys on the next one. My friends, thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really means the world to me to be able to do what I'm most passionate about and help others expand their minds and their pocketbooks. And spread goodwill into the world. There's nothing better that I could think to do with my life, and you are one of the people allowing me to do that. So I'm eternally grateful for that. Let's take a look at the trades, guys. It's helpful to get informed with the overview, like the 10-year overview, and it looks like we have a high in 2023. There's a rally that increases with momentum moving forward in time. When we look at the 1 year, obviously there's a bottom, at least one notable bottom in there, but there's a couple opportunities to open up long position. We probably want to close out of that long position. My sense is before the highest high here, we want to close out. It's probably the best place in July. So the on the scale of like a 1 year chart, the trade that I see is to open up a long position when we revisit a support level towards the end of February. There's a support level after a sharp decline. We rotate sideways along a support level that we've revisited, or we're revisiting it. It was recently a past opportunity. I would open up a long position there, and it's possible there's a highest high in April. I could hold it until April's high. Or if I miss that high for some reason, then I would wait until July to close out towards the end of the month of July, it looks like. And then a couple places where if you could short, I don't think you can short Solana, but if you can, please let me know. I'd like to know how. That's probably the trade, guys. That's probably the trade. A couple other places where you might want to get in if you miss a good entry point in the end of February would be in a decline that takes place in early June. There may not be a lowest low here. I really like this February-March lowest low as a lowest low. This is more like tentative down here. Yeah, so a second entry point would be early June, and a first exit point could be here in April's high, and the main exit point could be the July high. In the midst of a rally into the high, we successfully turn resistance into support. At least momentarily. Remember, the high and the low are within close proximity to each other, needing to be quick there. Okay, there's another one here at a month's low, mid-month of October. when rotating sideways along key support, you could open up a long position and close that long position when we rally out of oversold territory, or to fill a previous gap down here in the following month of November. Probably the third week of November at a key technical price level on the scale of more than just the 1 year chart. Resistance level, you could close out of that long position there as well. That would be a shorter term trade. But those are the best trades that I say for Solana in the year 2023. My friends, don't forget to follow the rule of karma. Super important. Easiest way to do that is go to the website tarotfortraders.com. Click on the resources tab, send 5% profits to PayPal, to Cash App, and don't forget about the pay it forward. That's just as important, if not more important, my friends. It's just as important to pay it forward a little, that 5%, because that's really perpetuating more and more goodwill into the world, my friends. And the more that we do that as angel investors, is what I'm now calling you guys, all of us, the better the world will become, not just for ourselves, but everybody in the world and their worlds, and so on. It's an upward spiral versus a downward spiral, and you basically guarantee yourself on an upward spiral when you do things like that. You can deviate from that spiral, but an act of goodwill will always put you back on that upper spiral. All right, guys, with that said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks again.